The moment she pointed at my kids, and knew this flight was about to turn ugly. Her fingers shook with entitlement, her voice loud enough to turn heads 3 rows away. "We need those seats," she snapped, already deciding our answer for us. I remember thinking, this is going to end badly for someone I just didn't know who yet. We were a family of 4, finally seated after a chaotic boarding process that left everyone sweaty, annoyed, and desperate to just sit down. My 2 kids were in the bulkhead seats, the ones with extra legroom because I'd booked them months in advance, paid extra, and triple-checked the seat map like paranoid parent. Long flight, kids, survival strategy. Simple. My wife sat next to our youngest. I was across the aisle with our older one. We hadn't even buckled in yet when I noticed her standing there, arms crossed, jaw tight. That look, the one that says, "I'm already angry and you're already wrong." She cleared her throat loudly, not appolite, "Excuse me," more like a warning. "Those are bulkhead seats," she said, staring directly at my kids as if they personally offended her. I smiled instinctively, the way you do when you think someone's just making conversation. "Yeah," I said, "that's why we booked them." Her eyes narrowed. "My husband, and I need that space. Your children can sit anywhere." There it was, not a request, a verdict. I felt that slow, hot shock crawl up my spine. My kids froze. My youngest looked at me like he'd done something wrong just by existing in that seat. That's when irritation flipped into something sharper. "I'm sorry," I said, keeping my voice calm, "but these seats are assigned. We paid for them." She laughed, actually laughed, a short, dismissive sound. "Well, that's ridiculous. Children didn't need leg room. I have a medical condition. Mini twist number 1. No visible brace, no limp, no explanation, just a magical phrase that apparently justified anything. Before I could respond, she waved down a flight attendant like she was summoning a servant. "Excuse me," she said loudly. "This family is refusing to move anthurian seats meant for adults." That sentence hit me harder than I expected. The cabin felt quieter somehow, like people were pretending not to listen while absolutely listening. The flight attendant checked our boarding passes, nodded. "These are their seats, ma'am." Karen's face changed, not embarrassed, not defeated, angry, like the rules had personally betrayed her. "So, you're telling me," she said slowly, "that children get priority over paying customers?" "I am a paying customer," I replied, my voice tighter now. She ignored me completely and leaned closer to the attendant. "This is unacceptable. I want a supervisor or the captain, someone with authority." That's when I noticed something else. Her husband was already seated, 3 rows back, middle seat, headphones on, eyes shut, not saying a word, not even pretending to support her. Mini twist number 2. Fists wassing about sitting together. The attendant told her she'd check availability. Karen scoffed and turned back to us. "Don't get comfortable," she said to my kids. "You won't be here long." I looked at my wife. She looked at me. That silent parent conversation happened in half a second. Stay calm, don't escalate. Protect the kids. But inside, I was boiling, because this wasn't about seats anymore. It was about watching a grown woman try to bully children in public and being confident she'd win. And at that moment, as the plane doors closed and the engines hummed to life, I realized something important. She thought the power was on her side. The tension didn't fade after that. Ithacan, like the air itself, had picked a side. Karen stayed standing an aisle long after the seat belt sign chimed on. The attendant returned, calm but firm, and told her she needed to take her assigned seat for takeoff. Karen didn't yell yet. She did something worse. She sighed dramatically, loud enough for half the cabin to hear, and said, "Fine, but this isn't over." She shot my kids a look that made my stomach drop. Not anger, calculation as she marched back to her row. She made sure to brush past my son's seat, muttering, "Unbelievable," raising them entitled already. My son shrank into his seat, my hands curled into fists before I even realized it. The plane began taxiing, and for about 2 minutes, it was quiet. Too quiet. Then the call button above Karen's seat lit up. I watched her stand again. Yes, stand. While the plane was still moving, the attendant rushed over, whispering urgently that Shin to sit down immediately. Karen waved her off like a fly. "I'm feeling dizzy," she announced, loud, performative. "I told you I had that condition." Now heads were turning for real. People craning their necks, phones subtly angled. The kind of attention Karen clearly thrived on. The attendant asked if she needed medical assistance. Karen paused just a beat too long, then said, "What I need is those bulkhead seats. If something happens to me, the Sarah line will be responsible." Mini twist number 2. Now it was a threat. The attendant's expression changed. Not scared, but tired. She told Karen she'd speak to the purser once they were airborne. Karen huffed and dropped back into her seat, arms crossed like a sulking child. We took off. My kids stayed silent, staring straight ahead. I could feel their nerves buzzing. 10 minutes into the flight, the aisle lights came on, and Karen was back. This time, she didn't even pretend to address the crew. She leaned across the aisle toward my wife and said, "I'll give you 5 minutes to move your kids before I escalate this." My wife blinked. "Escalate what?" Karen smirked. "I know airline policy. Bulkhead seats are supposed to be for passengers with needs. I can make this very uncomfortable for you." That's when Is stood up. Not aggressively, not shouting, just enough to block her line of sight to my children. "You will not speak to my kids again," I said. My voice surprised even me. Steady, low, dangerous in that quiet way. Cher coiled for half a second, then snapped. "Oh, please don't act like a hero. You're just teaching them they can't take from people who deserve it more." "Hey," man across the aisle muttered, "sit down already." Someone else whispered, "What is wrong with her?" Karen spun around. "Mind your business." And that's when the purser arrived. He listened carefully, asked questions, checked seat assignments. Karen talked over everyone, waving her arms, pointing at my kids like evidence in a trial. She mentioned her condition 3 more times. Still no details, still no proof. Then came the moment that changed everything. The officer leaned slightly closer to her and said, "Ma'am, I need to ask, if the tinge in your assigned seat is causing you distress, why didn't you request accommodation before boarding?" Karen opened her mouth and closed it. Mini twist number 2. She recovered fast. I didn't expect children to steal the best seats. That did it. The purser straightened up. His tone cooled. "No one stole anything, but your behavior is disrupting the flight." Karen scoffed. "So, you're punishing me now?" He nodded once. "I'm going to need you to remain seated for the rest of the flight. If this continues, we'll have to document it." For the first time, I saw uncertainty flicker across her face. But she wasn't done. As the purser walked away, Karen leaned toward me and whispered, "Enjoy it while it lasts. People like you always lose in the end." She had no idea how wrong she was. She spent the next hour pretending we didn't Texas. No comments, no sighs, no dramatic button presses, just rigid silence, staring straight ahead like a coiled spring, waiting for permission to snap, that I almost preferred when she was loud. The quiet felt rehearsed. Then somewhere over the ocean, the purser came back. He didn't stop at her row. He stopped the tours. My stomach dropped for half a second. I wondered if somehow she'd won, if rules had bent quietly while weren't looking. My kids noticed him, too. My youngest hand slid into mine without a word. "Sir," the purser said softly, "would you mind gathering your things for a moment?" Karen's head snapped around so fast, I heard her neck crack. I stood up, heart pounding. "Is there a problem?" "Not at all," he said, and then smiled. "In fact, we like to for your family an upgrade." The word barely registered. "An upgrade?" My wife asked. "Yes," he said. "We have 4 open seats together in the next cabin. More space, quieter, better for the kids." Mini twist. Real one. Karen was already standing. "Excuse me," she shouted. "I was told those seats were reserved." Thepperser turned to her slowly. Calm, surgical. They were until now. Her face flushed deep red. "I demanded those seats because I have a medical condition." This time, he didn't ask follow-up questions of ma'am. He said, "We reviewed your booking history. You did not request medical accommodation." You declined seat selection to save the fee, and you've disrupted this flight multiple times after being warned. The cabin was silent. Even the engines felt quieter. She stammered. That's irrelevant. No, he said evenly. It's the reason. He gestured to back off the plane. We've reassigned you to an available seat where you'll be less likely to interact with other passengers. The last row, middle seat, no recline. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just picked up my son and helped my family into the aisle. As worked past her, she hissed, You manipulated this. I stopped just for a moment and looked at her. No, I said quietly. You did. Her husband finally opened his eyes as she was forced to move. He looked confused and tired, then embarrassed. He didn't say a word to us. She argued, weakly one last time before being told firmly to sit down. We settled into the new seats, real space calm. A flight attendant brought the kids drinks they didn't ask for. Another apologized sincerely for what we'd been subjected to. That's when the final twist landed. The purser leaned in and said, Between us, she does this a lot. We've seen her before. Apparently, Karen's condition wasn't medical. It was entitlement. The rest of the flight was peaceful. My kids relaxed. My wife exhaled for the first time in hours. It stood out the window, watching clouds slide by, thinking about how close it'd come to losing my temper and how much that would have cost us. When we landed, Karen rushed off the plane without looking back. No apology, no lesson learned, just a quiet rage of someone who'd finally met a boundary she couldn't scream through. And my kids, they learned something better than Legram that day. They learned that staying calm doesn't mean staying small, and that sometimes the people who shout the loudest end up exactly where they belong. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Every single subscription motivates me to bring you even more exciting and dramatic HOA stories. And don't forget to tap the bell icon so you never miss a new upload. I'll see you in the next story where justice gets even more satisfying.